All right. Thank you so much for deciding to tune into the video. My name is Ali Rashid. I am the founder of Prediction Quant. Prediction Quant is a decision engine built for the prediction markets, specifically Kalshi and Poly market at the current time. So the the purpose of this video is kind of I want to show you what I've been working on here for the last few months that's going to be available to the public pretty soon. But I want to kind of give you a sneak peek as far as in the background of everything that we have going on right now, and then what you can expect also in the future. All right. So this is going to be a pretty unique software. The main thing that this software was built for was to really help individuals in the prediction markets. Now, prediction markets are becoming extremely popular out here. I think a lot of individuals are used to the different type of sports books out there. You know, your DraftKings and FanDuel, BetMGM, etc. But the prediction markets take a different toll on things. Instead of just betting on sports and sporting events, prediction markets pretty much bet on real world events, right? You can bet on anything from the weather to politics, and you name it, right? Everything under the sun. So these are starting to take place and develop a lot more. Even FanDuel and DraftKings have came out with their own prediction markets. You see Coinbase has one, Robinhood. So you see tons of these different providers out there who are, taking advantage of the trend. So hence, Prediction Quant was born to go ahead and assist with that. All right. Now, one of the key things with the differences that you get with prediction markets as opposed to normal sports books is that when you're betting against the sports book, you're betting against the house, right? So you're betting against DraftKings, you're betting against FanDuel. Well, with prediction markets, you're actually betting against other individuals. So therefore, you're not capped as far as how much you can bet, and you're not penalized as far as uh, you're not penalized as far as with how much you can win, right? So you're not going to be limited, right? So a lot of these books, once you start making with the sports books, you start making money. They're going to limit your account. You know, you're probably betting 2,000, $1,000 a game, and now you're only able to bet maybe $50, right? So you're gonna totally avoid that as long as there's liquidity in the market with the prediction sites, you're going to be able to make money. All right. So just want to kind of give a quick little update for those individuals who may not know exactly what prediction markets are. All right. So let's kind of jump into this here a little bit. So right here, when you log in, you're going to get to the dashboard. All right. And the dashboard is going to give you kind of an overview of what's all going on with the account. Now, my system has three different types of opportunities that you could take advantage of, all right, as of right now. We do have another product being built currently. I could just say that's going to be built more for the crypto side of the trading, but we'll get to that in a later video. But let's just kind of go ahead and talk about what we have now. So we have, obviously, as you can see here, we're going to have prime, EV opportunities, arbitrage, and plus EV opportunities. All right. So the way that this works is if you look here on the screen, you can see all the active signals that's taking place. Currently, we have no prime active signals currently. And then also our cross market signals, which would be either arbitrage or EV, we have about 111 that's been detected. So we have 111 total signals and 106 didn't meet criteria. All right, so let's kind of jump into this. And a lot of this, if you're a avid trader or a gambler from the sportsbooks world, you will already be familiar with what is called EV and arbitrage, right? So for those who don't know, EV just simply stands for expected value, all right? So when you're looking at expected value, then that's going to be like your edge in the market, right? In which you can kind of get in at a much better price than what the average market is going for. All right, so that's expected value. So if we kind of let's go into arbitrage. All right, so if we go into the arbitrage screen, we can see different types of arbitrage plays that's going to be available as of right now. And these are up to the second. See, these are just updated about 11 seconds ago. If we look here, we have about 40 arbitrage signals that's currently available to choose from. All right, so we have, you can see here, will Callum Turner be the next James Bond? Will Jacob Elordi be the next James Bond? Will Justin Bieber release a new album in 2026? Right, so you can see these. You have even pop culture events, that you can wager on as well. All right, so like I said, you can pretty much bet on everything under the board. With this system that you're going to have, you can also see the ROI that you can expect it and which the profit you can make. And then, of course, with the legs, just meaning that's just going to be two legs, one on Kalshi, one on Polymarket. So for individuals who are not familiar with arbitrage, arbitrage is just simply where you're betting on both sides of the bet, yes and no, and then you're guaranteed to make a profit. All right, that's arbitrage, right? So pretty much it's a risk-free bet in a way. All right. So, and if we click on, let's look at this Callum Turner James Bond. All right. So if we open up the platform here that you can see, we have a few little different things that's going on. All right. One thing that you can see here, you can see as far as with the platforms that's going to be available there. Also, you'll see, hold on a second, guys. Let me take this off. All right. So you can see the different platforms going across here from Poly and Kalshi. I'm going to show my system detects a little something different when it comes to arbitrage, and we'll talk about that here in a second. So one thing that you'll notice here, yeah, so you'll see here that we have the position scale, right? So immediately when you go into the bet, I mean into the view details window, you can see the scale, you can see the profit that you're expected to make, the ROI, and then also the slippage. So slippage is very important because sometimes if the slippage is too high, then it kind of eats away at your ROI and also your profit. Okay, so slippage is kind of similar to if you're in the day trading world with stocks and cryptos and forex and things of that nature. Sometimes you'll get what's known as slippage, right? So when you go into and complete a market order, you would, so if the price is, let's say, 50 cents to get in, you might get in at 52 cents, right? Due to slippage. So that's exactly what is factoring in here as well. So if you go into here, we look below, we see poly market, we want to buy yes, right? At 20 cents at about, and we're going to risk $10.80. And then we want to go to Kalshi and buy no. And then we want to bet at 54 cents and we want to risk $29.06. All right. So altogether, we're risking $39.86. All right. To make about $14 guaranteed. All right. So, and if you scale this over, all right, you can put in more and it'll adjust. All right. So if you want to bet to make a profit of $128, you're going to need to risk about $411. All right. So you can see down here below, you want to put $296 on Kalshi, and then you want to put about $115 on Poly. All right. So another thing that we have, and I won't go too much into a huge detail, at least on this video, but if you notice up here, we have direct arbitrage, which is your typical arbitrage play. And then we also have a capital efficient arbitrage. All right. When we go to capital efficient, you're actually selling the yes and buying the yes. Okay. So I'll have to put this on a different video, but pretty much what you're doing is you're going to Poly, you're going to buy yes, right, at 20 cents. And then on Kalshi, you're going to sell the yes. All right. You're going to need about $31.22 to put on that. But you also need a capital, right? Collateral required of $318. All right. In order to make this. So basically, you're just selling short, right? So there's a difference between buying no and then selling short. All right. Because you can notice here, this is yes on both of those. But pretty much you're just buying yes and you're also selling yes. All right. So like I said, we'll go into that to more detail, but it's just that sometimes you'll see plays that pops up with two different arbitrage opportunities, and that's what it is, right? But if you want to stick to the basic arbitrage, then it's just going to be direct arbitrage, and you just buy yes on one, buy no on the other. All right. So, and then once we go down here at the bottom, we can click add to journal. All right. So we can click add to journal, and this will go ahead and add your bet to the journal screen. Now we'll go ahead and go over the journal here in a second, but if we click that, it'll add to our journal and we can keep up with all our bets. If you hit execute, it'll immediately go open a Poly Market tab and a Kalshi tab. All right. So if we click on open Poly Market, let's see here. There could be an error going on that one here. Let's try here. Kalshi. Okay, there we go. So it should take you directly to the screen that you're going to go ahead and make your wager on. All right, and then you'll go ahead and make your bet. All right. So what I was kind of telling you about earlier here is selling the yes. So if you were, I'm sorry, buying, selling the yes. So if you're like, okay, Callum Turner is going to be the next James Bond, and then you want to say you want to buy yes, but you can sell the yes, right? And that's what it is. So you're putting in and you want to sell the yes. Let's just say 200. You put in your contracts and you kind of go from there. So you can buy and then you can sell. All right. But when we were going and doing what we were talking about earlier, oh, I'm sorry, I told you wrong, guys. Here we go. Yeah. So this is just your typical, you can buy him, you sell a yes or no, but then you can also sell and you can put that in here. So basically when you selling, you're pretty much getting the money up front. So it's going to require you to have a larger collateral to put up front as well. All right. But we'll go into more details on another video with that. So as you can see here, so this is for, like I said, you see the same thing across all different other, types of bet. This James Bond market seems to be pretty hot with some arbitrage opportunities. Let's go to Justin Bieber, right? So if we open up this Justin Bieber bet, let's say we scale it, right? Okay, so here's perfect examples of what I was telling you. So this Justin Bieber bet is pretty thin, right? So meaning if you can't wager too much because there's not enough liquidity in that market. So as we go over, we can see that, and all of a sudden, once we get to, you can see the profit starts drifting because the slippage is too high, right? So if you get into that bet, then the slippage is going to be too high on that. But always to verify, you can go directly, into the account. So we can go into here, we can open up Kalshi and Poly. So we open up Kalshi, right? Who's going to release a new album this year? Here's the Justin Bieber play right here. You can go ahead and make that bet. And then also, if we go back here, we go into Poly, which artist is gonna release a new album in 2026, and then we just simply scroll down and find Justin Bieber. All right, here we go. There's Justin. All right, so you can tell there. So it automatically is gonna do that for you. It'll go directly to the bets, so you don't have to on that end. So that's arbitrage. All right, so that's arbitrage. And currently, like I said, we have about roughly 40 arbitrage plays. Now, this resets all the time. So if you hit refresh, yeah, there's still 40. All right. So anytime that those pop up, they'll be available there. Okay, next, let's jump into EV. All right. So EV bets, like I said, these are just expected value opportunity plays. Now, expected value opportunity plays, these are not guaranteed. Okay, so meaning you can lose money, right? Arbitrage, you can't lose money because you're betting both sides of the bet. But EV is a long-term game, okay, not a short-term game. So anybody knows who bet EV, you have to make a lot of EV bets over time to eventually get to that expected value of making money. Right? It's not like you bet it for a month and, you could be down or you could be up. It's different type of variance that you go through, right? And variance is just another word for losing streaks. Okay. So you have different variance when you're doing with EV, but EV can be very profitable over time. All right. If you go ahead and you bet it correctly. So when we get to this EV screen, we can see we have about 73 opportunities available for EV. And also, if we look here, we also have Prime EV, right? We don't have any Prime EV bets available, but pretty much Prime EV is just pretty much the ultimate highest value EV, right? So it has the highest chance of winning, all right? So once you look at this card, you're gonna see a few things. You're gonna see, okay, well, Connor Burbridge, the Democratic nominee for Senate in Rhode Island, right? So this is a political bet, right? So obviously they're saying get in at four. It's a 4% edge. The entry is 5 cents. Probability is only 4.9%. So it's a very low probability that this is going to hit. But anybody who's familiar with arbitrage, I mean, sorry, with EV, knows that sometimes you're going to have that in that run in that situation. So also you have liquidity. You can look and see how much liquidity is on this particular bet at this price. So you can see it's only $55 in liquidity, right? With on Polymarket, right? So that's very thin, but it's going to give you every single bet. And if we open this up, we can see that what's our fair probability odds, and we can see what's the miss pricing here as well, guys. And you can see that easily fair probability is 8.9% minus the mispricing gap. So that's where we get our 4.9% probability of hitting. And then we have our platform is Poly, category is politics. Here you're going to buy yes at 5 cents, and then you're going to use a Kelly aggressive at $78. Now we're going to go to our I'm going to go to my bankroll management here in just a second, but this is set to pretty high, right? So obviously, if we go into here, you can click add to journal. We hit execute, and if we put open poly, right, and then I'm sorry, what was this guy's name? Connor Burbridge. Yes, right. So if we're going to buy yes here, right, and then we want to do, let's just do market, and we just put $78, right? So if this bet wins, it would be a $1,400 win. Now, this is a very low probability, right? Because Jake Reed, whoever this guy is coming in already at 96%, but it's definitely a small EV percentage there, right? So when we go back into these platforms, you just don't want to bet willy-nilly, right, on any particular market, right? You want to have some type of strategy because the system is going to, if it's an EV opportunity, it's going to give it to you. So if we go over here to filters, we can obviously see we can break it down by sports, politics, economics, crypto, weather, culture. So we're kind of putting that together. You can also bet it by liquidity, like you can see how much money is in the market, etc. for the bets, right? So everything is tied in here. So if you want to get a more higher quality play, then you want to go ahead and go for a higher liquidity. All right. So you can do that by liquidity. You can also do it by time between time to close. So if the bet is going to close within an hour or 6 hours or within 24 hours or less, you can judge that. I can tell you a lot of these, you're not going to have to worry about this too much because some of these bets are a little bit further out. And then you can also do it filter by the probability band. So this is any bets that have a 50 to 60% chance of hitting, 55 to 75, 60 to 75, 75% plus. Right? So you can do that. And then also you can sort it by the EV range. Right? You can do the minimum EV that you want to go with and the maximum EV. All right. So you can go ahead and filter it out by any of those things there. All right. So in a nutshell, we kind of scroll through here. You can see all of these different EV opportunities, that's pulling up, for you to take advantage of. So everything is located in the system. Anything that's happening between Poly and Kalshi, you will see. All right. If we go to our next screen, we'll go to the journal. Right. So if we go to the journal here, anytime you hit add to journal, you can click and see which exactly one of these bets that's going to come through. Now, all of these bets here have not cashed out yet, but I just wanted to do it for the purpose of so you can kind of see how this works. So if you go into here, let's say, well, will Tram Win be the Democratic nominee for MA6? If you click on this, then you can see the bet, right? And then you can go, back to journal. You can even uh, let me put in a new one here. All of these are ones I've already admitted. So let's just go back over to EV and let's do this. Sorry. Let's go back over to EV. Let's use this one. We'll Aston Villa finish in the top two. We click add to journal. We go over here. We can see it hasn't been updated yet. You can see status is open. We click on it and we open it up, and then automatically it's going to say close position. And then from close position, you can just simply put in your profit or loss from this bet. All right. So, and then it'll automatically update to the journal. All right. So, and then of course, you go in here and we go back to the journal, and then you can also remove it as well. Right. So you can delete it and you can take that off. Oh, one other thing I wanted to mention here as well. So if you can actually hide bets as well. So if you are seeing maybe a bet that you've already taken, and you want to hide it, you can just simply hit the hide button here, and it will hide that bet. All right. So anytime that you already bet one or you seeing one that's popping up consistently, you can simply hide it. Right? And then if you want to bring it back, you can see, go back to the filter, and you can see one signal is hidden, and then you can unhide it. All right. If you unhide it, click back out, and it comes back to your screen. All right. So you do have the ability to do that. But here, so once you do that, you also have a calendar view you can look at. So if you go over here to the calendar view, you can see that this is going to be available here for you. You can see the dates, how much you won, etc. And then if you actually click on, let's say we click on this day, it'll give you all the bets that you took place on that day. All right. And any profit or loss that was taken. All right. So this is going to be available for you so you can keep up with all of your bets across the screen, right? No matter what you have, whether wins or losses, so you can kind of know exactly what's working and what's not working for you. Okay. Lastly, we go over here to analytics. Well, not last, we got a few other things. We're over here to the analytics tab. And with the analytics tab, it's going to keep up with your statistics, right? We're going to know your win rate, your total profit, drawdown, best and worst bets. On this as well, you can get the bet breakdown, and then also the platform breakdown. And then also here, you'll be able to, you can see how much money you've won either or lost on either platform, whether it be on Poly or Kalshi. So it gives you an update on this as well, so you can at least get some type of analytics of what's going on with your bets, right? And you can do it from all time, last 30 days, last 7 days, etc. Right? So all that's available to you. All right. Now, with that being said, so we do have that available to the users. One other thing I want to mention here, also you can also do a dark mode, or a light mode, depending on what type of person you are. Some people like dark mode, some people like light mode, so that's available to you. And then here, I want to go over to the settings. Hold on here. Let's go over here to the settings real quick. Okay, so this is in this back office, you're going to see a settings tab to where you can see your bankroll, right? So basically on that one bet, it was telling us to bet $78, right? It's going to be how you're going to set that up yourself. So you're going to know exactly how much you need to bet on an EV play. So if we go into EV, right, and we go into this particular bet, it's saying that we want to bet $78 on this and 11, which goes by Kelly criterion system. So this is aggressive, right? That setup. And if we go back into the settings, I don't know why I'm having a tough time putting this over here. Hold on, this little mouse thing is popping up here. If we go over here, okay, we go back to the settings, and we have you can see you can put in your bankroll, right? So whatever your bankroll is, you put that in here, and it's going to be able to judge your percentage. This max exposure is not out just yet. Um, but this is where you, if you want to only to risk a certain max exposure out of your account, we'll be adding this when we get the auto connect feature lined up. So for this, don't worry about that for right now. This risk profile, this is where you can set up your bets, right? So if you want to do conservative, that's only 1% of your bankroll. Standard is 2, aggressive is 5. All right. So here you're going to be able to, be able to keep up with that information there. So if we go over to conservative, right? And then you also have a safe mode here. This is just if you're extra cautious, then each recommendation would be pretty much reduced by 50%. All right. So you can do safe mode if you want to make sure you want to bet very conservatively. But if we go back to EV, and I think this was the bet. All right. So now, based on our bankroll, it's saying $43, right, that you would make on that play. All right. So you have that availability there. Uh, what's going on with this support tab? There we go. All right. So you have that availability based on a $25,000 bankroll, and you can see your single bet is going to be 250. All right. So if we go something a little bit lower, $2,000 bankroll, then your max single bet is going to be $20. Now, these are all recommendations, right? You don't have to follow this, right? But if somebody who doesn't know kind of where to bet and how much to bet based on the plays, you can put this in to effect for you, and it'll give you the adequate breakdown. All right. Also, you can here go by market categories. So all of these different, categories, you can disable them, you can enable them of what bet that you want to see, on the system. And then after that, it gives you just a quick little rundown of everything that's in for you. So you see your bankroll and your max bet, your risk profile set to conservative, and then the categories you have all 15 enabled. I would always say keep everything enabled. All right. So as of right now, just kind of, taking a step back, this is what we're looking at so far. This is prediction quant. I wanted to just kind of take a thorough breakdown of kind of how the system will be working. If anybody has any questions, like I said, this is a new channel to YouTube. This is a new video. But if anybody has any questions, feel free to put them in the comments. And then also I'll be building a wait list as here as well pretty shortly. So if you are interested and you want to be notified when Prediction Quant is available, and also to qualify for any type of founder pricing, then you definitely want to go ahead and sign up for the wait list. All right. So other than that, guys, thank you so much for taking time to pay attention to Prediction Quant. I'm excited about what we have brewing here. I have another exciting feature being built right now. And once that is done, I will share it with you. I think you're really going to love it to give a little bit more extra juice to what's already available in this very robust system. All right. Thanks, guys. Have a great day.